Welcome to this episode of Your Wellness MD podcast. Family physician and wellness expert, Dr. Daniela Stein, has meaningful conversations that will take your health to the next level. She explores the connection between a healthy body, mind, and soul, and shares tips that will enable you to thrive. Dr. Stein has helped thousands of people have a better quality of life by improving their health with science-based knowledge, education, better nutrition, mindfulness, and lifestyle choices. Join us today, empowering you to live your best life with optimal health.
Good day, everyone. I am Dr. Daniela Stein, and welcome to the Wellness MD podcast and Wellness MD Health Talk Show on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. And Erika, thank you so much for joining us today. Erika is a very, very well-known relationship counselor in our area here in Canada. And she's an incredible asset to every client she's worked with. And I'm so happy to have you with me today, Erika. And I'm happy for you to share with all my listeners what you do and what you can help people with. Welcome.
Oh, thanks, Daniela. I am a relationship coach. I also have a psychology degree, and I am here to create happy couples. I think that's it. I'm making happy couples.
That's incredible. That is such a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
And then Erika is South African as well, as you guys can hear by our accent. We have, but both of us are in Canada now. And I have a lifestyle medicine clinic. And in my lifestyle clinic, as a medical doctor, people often come to me with some symptoms: migraines, gut symptoms, autoimmune disease, irritable bowel syndrome. Their hormones are out. And then once we get down to the root cause of their symptoms, I quite often find that they're in an unhealthy relationship. So no matter how many pills we push on the one side as physicians, or how we look at your nutrition, your exercise, your sleep, if you're in an unhealthy relationship and you're constantly unhappy, your body is never going to be in perfect health. So that is why we are taught at the lifestyle medicine, with the lifestyle medicine exams that I'm taking, and from their college, they look at all these pillars of health. And then one of the big pillars that we have to look at to get our patients in optimal health are their relationships. And that's what you do. You help people in their relationships. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I have this motto that the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your relationships.
Sure. Well, that's profound. So the quality of your life is directly in relation to the quality of your relationships.
Yeah. And think about this. If any of us is unhappy, or we have some hurt that we carry with us, how do you feel? You feel anxious, you feel annoyed, you're getting... Let's forget a little bit about your relationship with your husband. But if you have some conflict at work, you get home, you're annoyed, you just don't feel good. You know,
Yes.
so all of this, and you had touched on it, Daniela, the physically, it just influences us so much. You know, we're getting ulcers from it. Cardiovascular things, everything else. You know, headaches. If you have a headache, it's probably a stress headache. So this is all related to some relation, not all, but most of the times it's because there's something wrong at home, or something wrong with a child of yours. Now, I'm focusing really on marriages, but I also help couples to have healthy relationships with their children and so on, because it's the whole family dynamic that I look at. So,
and your focus are really to keep families together. What can we do to improve communication within a family, and things we can do to help families be together? And you also work with blended families. Because I found with my patients, that's so tricky with a blended family. What's your role? What are you allowed to? What are you not allowed to? So, and that's where you come in.
Absolutely. Yes, I do have a communication workshop that I help and that I present to my couples. And but all of this Also, if you don't start working on these relationships, what's the next thing that happens? Our mental disabilities go down. It influences our mental health. It creates some stress, anxiety. And first of all, you start feeling a little bit depressed, and eventually it goes over in a huge depression. So we have to start working on our relationships, resolve it. And clients come to me, and after a session or two, they already feel better. And I said, why haven't we done this 2-3 years ago? Why have we lived in this
Waited
stress and
so
through
long.
this? And it took 2 hours of your life and a few dollars, of course, and then there you go. You're back on
Yes.
track again. So
Yes.
yeah.
So what do you teach? So we have quite a wide audience of people. You are easily accessible, and I'll put all your detail down below, because you do see clients virtually, which is great. But
Yes.
then we have quite an audience throughout the world. We have all over in Europe, we have in Australia, we have in Hong Kong. So what are things that you can tell some of our listeners now, things that they can easily implement at home to start improving their relationships with their loved ones?
I teach 2 things, only 2 things. And if I tell my clients, if you do these 2 things, if you forget everything that I tell you, I have lots of tools that we use. We do personality tests.
That's a big one. We should get back to that. That's a big one.
Yes. Oh, and I love those. That is
Yes.
so
So
exciting.
we can
And
talk to
couples,
that.
yeah. So, and if you forget everything else that I'm teaching you, there's 2 things, just 2 things that you have to remember. Be kind. That's all. And be conscious. If you are kind, if I talk to you like this, how can you ever be upset with me, Daniela? But if I go like this and scream and shout and attack you, of course you will be upset with me. So this is the type of techniques that I teach people. Exactly what I do with you now. I lean in, I lower my voice, I talk calmly, I take breaks, and you really listen to what I'm saying. So
Sure.
this
So
is
that comes
some
under
of the
communication skills as well, right? That's why you're
right,
doing that communication
right,
workshop.
right. So it's all of that. For kindness is how's your actions? Is your actions kind? Is that the way that you want to be handled? How do you show up as the wife and as the husband of somebody else? Is there kindness in that? If you forget everything, just be kind. And we all know when we're not kind. We do. We all know when we're not kind, when
So
that
we should.
attitude and
So you say
yeah.
I shouldn't be shouting, you're not helping with the dishes. I should say it in a
No,
low
Daniela.
voice and
No
calm
voice,
and kind.
my dear husband, will you help me with the dishes? And oh, if you do a little wink in there, he can. Okay, I
Okay,
have
so
that
you
naughty side in me as well. So
and that's quite important. We can, if we have time at the end, we can maybe touch on that as well. But that is very critical in our relationship, is our romantic relationship with our spouses. My mom always explained to me that that's the glue that keep us together. If that's the one thing that's different from between me and my friends and my colleagues. The one thing that's between me and my husband is that glue is our romantic life. Yeah, so we
that's
should
right.
maybe check on that a little bit. But yes, let's get back. You said there were 2 main things. The one first is to be kind,
Right. And the other one is
to be
consciousness.
conscious. So what does that mean?
If I am conscious about my own feelings, why am I irritated right now? God gave us emotions, okay? He gave us positive emotions. He gave us negative emotions. He gave this to us to experience and to feel. So don't hide it away. If you have a negative feeling, there's a reason for it. It means that there is something that you don't like, that you don't like. So start working on it. So that is the one thing. If you have the positive emotion, everything is well and honky-dory. So So yeah, so be conscious about your own feelings. Be conscious about your husband or your wife's feelings. Be conscious about what they do. If they get home and you see they're a little bit off, ask the question, hey, is there something I can do for you? Just take a cup of tea, that kindness. There's things that make you your relationship tick. My husband, every morning, he wake up before me, he bring me a cup of tea in bed,
Oh,
kiss
lovely.
me good morning, he switch on my bed light, he gave me a pillow to sit to drink my tea. I'm doing my quiet time. Then he come back after he had made himself breakfast, come back, sit, we have quiet time together, we pray
Oh,
together.
that's
That,
lovely.
but that's the kindness. That's how we start
Mm,
our morning. We start it
mm,
right with kindness and with love. And the rest of our days is just going well. So, but
yes.
kindness conscious. I'm conscious when he feels sad. You know, his mother just died 2-3
I'm
days
sorry.
ago.
Oh, I'm so
This
sorry.
this morning, you know, I called him and I saw, oh my gosh, it's just, you don't feel right. And, you know, to
Yes.
show my empathy and understanding
Yes.
and give him the permission to feel that way as well. We have God gave us negative and positive emotions. So
Mm,
feel it, stay in that moment and realize where it's coming from. And the same for your partner.
mm. Yeah, that's big. Sure, that's profound. I think just reflecting on my own relationship with my husband, I'm very grateful. We're in a very, very beautiful, very healthy relationship. And I think it's because he's kind. He's a kind person. He's not just kind to me, he's kind to everyone. And then something that I can grow in is to be more self-aware because I'm in a space that conscious that you're talking that self-aware. Because I'm in that phase where it's work, 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 and 3 little kids. So I'm very aware of what my little kids need and their emotional needs. And I've always been very impressed with my husband who's in touch with what they need. But that would be helpful to be more in touch with what he needs. Because typically when he comes home from work, my first thing is not like, what is your mood? How was your day? I'm like, we've got to do this. We've got to quickly eat. We've got to get the kids in the car. We've got to get off to hockey. Like, okay, there's no time for you to feel.
Right, right, right. So,
So
so
that's a
getting
place where I can grow to work on how he feels.
Yes, and getting back to that, Daniela, one thing that I implement with my clients is a care session. In the evenings, you have to have a care session.
Hmm.
Now, a care session in the beginning, when couples is really like a little bit itchy with each other, you know, a care session can only be 5 minutes. Later on, you will be so addicted to these care sessions that you just don't want to,
So tell me
to
more.
let
What
it
do you do with
stop.
a care session?
Two things. And this, you can start doing it with your husband tonight. Just start. Two things. The first thing is, what do you appreciate, compliment, anything like that? Something good, because we have to see each other again.
Mm,
I have to see, you know, if I look at you, you are a pretty woman. Your husband will probably
mm,
compliment you so much on that. And thank you, my wife, that you work so hard and you have this practice and you do so good for other people. And for him, wow, I see your kindness. You know, you've already said so many things about him that I can compliment or appreciate. So that we
mm,
see each other. And this is something that me and my husband do daily. Every evening we go on a
mm,
walk and we do that. And it's not right now that formal anymore. It's like, okay, what is
mm,
your compliment? You know,
mm.
in the beginning to get into it, it will
To get
feel
into habit.
uncomfortable.
Yes, because it's not that natural for us to compliment
Yeah,
each other, and you take each other for granted after you've been married for, what are we, 18 years now. We just take each other for
yeah,
granted. I don't sit and
yeah,
say, oh, but you're actually a very handsome guy. You're the handsome guy that I fell in love with. We just take each other for granted. Okay, so that's very
yeah,
valuable. That is something all our
yeah,
listeners can
yeah,
implement
yeah,
today. They can take those loved ones and find
right.
that something and compliment them.
Yeah. See each other again. So if you want to make it fun, write it down on a little note, throw it each one of you in a jar, and then go away a weekend and reread it. Because after a month, you got 30 things that you saw again in each other. It's amazing. Can you think how your brain will change, and that you will your belief system will change again about your husband? And I know you're in a good relationship, but my couples remember the time when they come to me, they're not in a good space.
No, but I've had times like that where I've been very frustrated with my husband because I felt he's doing this wrong and he's doing that wrong. And I really
Yes.
prayed to God to say that he must just change my husband because this is wrong and that is wrong. And at those times, God really said that I have to change first. And I found that after I really worked through that journey with my growth and myself to change, then my husband didn't really need to change. Because in my mind, I thought I just need to jump through these hoops, then God is going to work with my husband. But I found out that once I jumped through the hoops and I became more self-aware, more, maybe the things that you're mentioning, more kind, more,
Yes,
then
yes.
he wasn't that wrong in the first place. It was really my perspective that needed to change.
Yes, absolutely. And it's only one person is needed to change a relationship. If you show up every day, the wife that you want to be, with kindness, consciousness, if that's the only two things you will remember after today, if you do that and you show up 100% the wife, oh my gosh, what will come back to you? Your husband will be 100% the amazing husband.
And that's
So
also a better place to communicate from. That's why you teach communication. But it's also if my husband walks into the house and I'm like, I can't be cooking and cleaning, and then doing everything, that is a different conversation than sitting down and saying, okay, so let's plan the week ahead. Who's going to make which meal? Who's going to do laundry what day? Who's going to plan the food and who's going to prep the food? Then you're in a different conversation planning in communicating than saying, oh, why didn't you cook today? And why didn't I cook today? And, there's
yes.
no food on the table.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And that is where the difference is between therapy and coming to coaching. Coaching is
Yes, tell
really
us about that. Yes, so
practical.
that's a big thing. What's
Yes.
the difference?
So I do counseling. I don't do therapy.
Okay.
Okay. Therapy is what psychologists do, but I do counseling and I do coaching. So and let us just quickly do care sessions, finish care sessions.
Okay.
And the last thing that you have to do is say what you need from the other person. And because now I want to make you a team. If you don't need the other person, why are you in this marriage? Get out. So if you need each other, and sometimes you just need a hug. Sometimes that's all you need from the other person. But tomorrow you need, hey, I need you tomorrow to pick up bread and milk from the supermarket on your way home. I need you to, as you say, cook the meal tomorrow. So very practical, because that's how you become a team again. And not only again, when me and my husband go on these walks, it's like, okay, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Because I need him. And now while he's away back in South Africa for his mom's funeral, he's like, oh my gosh, I have to learn to put some gas in my car. Daniela, I never do that. I know people think I'm pathetic, but that was the roles. And that's also what I teach. I teach the roles. It's like,
you're a lucky woman if your husband does that for you.
he cannot cook. He cannot cook. So I don't allow him behind the stove.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
we have our roles worked out in our house. And it creates peace. It creates everybody know what to do. We never have any conflict about that, because a lot of couples have conflict about that.
Because we can't communicate what we need from the other person. So that's important to be self-aware, conscious. What is our need? Be able to communicate that need in kindness.
Yes, and now you have a space to communicate that in the care session in the evenings.
Okay.
So
amazing.
let's get back to counseling and coaching. Okay.
Yes.
So counseling is, I go back and I look at what went wrong in your relationship. We're going to learn from the past. We're not going to stay in the past, but we're going to learn from it. And then we're going to look at how does the future look. At one stage in my sessions, I say, this is the cutoff. We're never going to refer back to the past. We've learned from the past, but now we work out a plan for the future. Now, coaching is really the practical side of things. It's really, this is what's needed to be done, like the care sessions. I teach you how to be conscious, how to be kind, and I call my clients out on that. I'm very straightforward. I call my clients out on that if I see they're in a session not kind, and the words that I use, and those type of things. As I say, we do the personality test, which help them to see this is really the woman I married or the husband I married. And actually, they are amazing. And this is their strengths and this is their weaknesses. And with that, how can we make these two strengths and strengths? Because normally they're not the same. That's how God had made us. So we feel attracted to the other person that complete us, that have that other attributes that we don't have. So they complete two halves, and I make it one big, beautiful ball that will just roll. So, and that's where real coaching come in. Practical. How can you use each other's strengths and then laugh about the weaknesses? We can work on our weaknesses. I don't change people. God had made us all amazing. So I don't change people, but I change your habits. I want you to change your habits.
Yes. Okay. So that's very interesting to know. So that's what I find. I offer cognitive behavioral therapy and CBT. It's a form of psychotherapy that I do as a family physician to my clients. And what that's really drawn me to that as well is, whereas traditional psychology was just kind of talking about your childhood and your problems, I felt that with that is you kind of acknowledge that, yes, this is how you're in this relationship because your mom and dad wasn't kind to each other. You didn't have good role models. But what is your goal? Where do you want to be 10 years from now? And how are you going to get to that goal?
Exactly.
Because yes, and then it's kind of stepping stones how to get, because we can easily say, oh, my mom and dad were always bickering and this is just, but do I want to be bickering? What do I want to be 10 years from now, and how am I going to get there? And if I'm not now in a direction getting there, what are the steps I can take to get there? Where do I see myself in 10 years, 20 years? And then if I see myself very happily walking on the beach hand in hand in my senior years, in my golden years with my loved one, then it's important to work on that relationship now. And then if we're working on that relationship now, then coaching is a good idea to guide us to go through that.
It's very practical. It's really, it's very practical. What is the steps, as you say? And some of my clients can change it in 1 or 2 sessions. Some take a little bit longer. It's their habits is so fixed, and to change their mindset. Okay, So, but I love coaching, because we don't just get stuck in your childhood years. We work on making it better. So
yes, and we have choices now, right? Every day we make choices, whether we're growing, whether we're staying stagnant, whether we're regressing. And what I've often found is, so I'm married now for 18 years. I've been in my parents' house for 18 years. So I'm now in a position where I can't really blame my parents raising me this or that way, because me and my husband has been shaping each other for longer now than we've been in our parents' house. So I can't say, oh, but his dad never used to do the dishes, so that's not what he does. We're like, no, in our house, the way we are now is the way we shaped each other. And we're also going to be 5 or 10 years from now, depending on choices we make now. So it's quite important, those kindness, communication, being aware, where are you now? Where do you want to be? Which role do you want to play? How much of a team player do you want to be? Yeah, that's quite profound.
Right. And just what you said there about your parents and the beliefs that was created for us in our parents' houses, is that there's that stories that we tell ourselves, that belief systems that's there for years and years and years on end. Why not look into that story and say, is that the truth? Does that even make sense anymore? Or is that a lie that my brain? I always say our brains are so clever, but they're also so dumb. So it's like we can change our thoughts. And that's also what I do. It's really practical how I teach people to change your thoughts. It's, yes, you are in an unhappy relationship right now. Do you want to keep on believing it? Or can we change that story to, hey, we're working on this and this is going to be better? Immediately when you change that thought.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's hope. Your next feeling is hope. and
Yeah.
it's not that sadness. And so yeah, so that's also what I teach, is how to change our thoughts.
So do you work with clients, if someone is listening now and they think, oh my goodness, Erika, I need your help, or I need a couple counselor's help, and they speak to their loved one and the loved one is, oh no, thank you, I don't want any coaching. Do you work with individuals then on their own when their counterpart doesn't want to come with for coaching?
Yes, yes. Some clients I do see alone, and eventually when the partners see the change, and the kindness that this person starts showing and the consciousness, then that person say, hey, let's go, let's do this.
Yes.
Erika,
Because no one's
Erika's
partner,
good. Yeah.
yes, because I understand that no one's partner wants to come to counseling if you kind of fear that maybe you're going to go there and the counselor is going to point out everything you're doing wrong in your relationship, right? But then when they understand that this is not to point out mistakes, this is to look at strengths and how we can work together to improve our relationships.
Yeah. My sessions is very light. We laugh about a lot of stuff. I tell a lot of stories because it's important. And what I like about online counseling is that you don't go to a clinical office, sit there, who's
It's
seeing
not
me
that
today?
formal.
Yeah, you
So there's
sit
that confidentiality part.
all of that. You sit at home in your own couch,
Comfort.
you sit there, you drink out of your own cup of tea, relax. I always encourage people to play background music to make it calm and relaxing. So it's a nice calming atmosphere. You sit there and we talk. It's like, come have a cup of tea with me and let me hear what's going on.
That's wonderful. Erika, thank you so much for spending time with me. I'll put your links and your social media and then your book, You and Me,
Oh,
or Us. Yes, I'll put your book as well in the link below so that everyone who listens or watch, if they want to reach out to you, I really encourage all of our listeners and all of our YouTube watchers to really become conscious and become aware of your relationships. Is it building you up? Is it sucking the life out of you? If your relationship is sucking the life out of you, what are the steps that you can do? Maybe if they're not comfortable coming for counseling yet, they can just buy your book.
True.
And just to become more aware of, the options out there.
Yeah. But what do you have to lose? You have 1 hour in your life to lose. Try it out and see if it changed. You don't have to come back.
So someone don't have to sign up for 12 sessions.
No.
That's what I do. When people come to me for CBT, I'm like, no. One session is not enough. We need 12.
Yeah, it's not enough, of course, but
But that's introduction, no risk introduction.
Exactly.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Erika. Thanks for spending time with me and all the best to you. And to your husband.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All the best. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode today by medical doctor Daniela Stein. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter at www.wellnessmdhealth.com to stay up to date on educational resources that will take your quality of life to the next level. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your healthcare provider. Never disregard medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. Remember, you are created to thrive.